My beloved child, you have wondered if I still see you. You've walked through rooms filled with laughter while your heart silently asked, am I invisible to heaven? You've smiled through weariness, served through exhaustion, and prayed through silence. You've carried the weight of faith like a fragile flame, protecting it from the winds of disappointment. And though no one else noticed, I did. I have not forgotten you, not for a single breath, not for a single tear. From the beginning of your journey until this very moment, my eyes have never left you. When others passed you by, I stopped and lingered. When you felt unseen, I was the one who saw you most clearly. You are engraved upon the palms of my hands, your name is written into the folds of my heart. I have never overlooked you. I have never grown weary of you. You are not a passing thought in the heavens, you are a precious part of my eternal design. There were moments you thought, surely, I've been left behind. Surely, God has moved on from me. But child, listen closely, I am the shepherd who leaves the 99 to find the one. And you, my precious one, were never lost to me. When you stood still, I stood with you. When your faith faltered, I held you. When your voice trembled with prayer, even when your words were few, I heard each one and answered with my nearness. Your cries did not fall into silence, they echoed in the courts of heaven. And I responded not always with sound, but with presence. You may feel forgotten, but that feeling is not your truth. Feelings shift like shadows, but I am constant. My love does not waver with your mood. My attention does not fluctuate with your strength. I see you just as you are, wounded, weary, waiting, and I do not turn away. I am not disappointed in your need. I am not ashamed of your questions. I am near to the broken-hearted, and I save those crushed in spirit. That includes you. I know the battles you've fought in silence. I know the nights you laid in bed wondering if your life still matters. I saw when your hope dimmed but your spirit still whispered, God, don't let go of me. And I didn't. I never will. You are not forgotten. You are held. I am weaving your story into something beautiful, something that stretches beyond what eyes can see. What I am forming in you is sacred, hidden in places the world doesn't applaud, but heaven celebrates. You don't have to strive for my attention. You already have it. You don't have to prove your worth. I declared it before you ever spoke a word. Let your heart rest in this. I see you. In the quiet places. In the lonely spaces. In the middle of everything and in the absence of everything. I see you. And I delight in you, not for what you do, but for who you are. You are my beloved. Not because you always get it right, but because you are mine. So come close again, not performing, not pretending. Just come. With all the messy, tired, wandering parts of you. I am here. I am listening. I am holding you even now. And I whisper once more, in a voice stronger than your doubt. You have not been forgotten by heaven. You are remembered. You are chosen. You are deeply, eternally loved. My beloved child, I know the silence has wounded you. There have been long seasons where your prayers felt like whispers falling into a void. You reached for me, but it seemed I did not reach back. You asked for answers, and all you heard was stillness. You begged for breakthrough, but the doors stayed shut. And somewhere in that quiet, you began to wonder, have I done something wrong? Has heaven turned away? But child, listen closely, The silence was not my absence, it was my nearness in disguise. I do not measure love by noise. I do not prove my presence through constant miracles. I am not loud to be close. I am God. And I dwell even in the quietest corners of your soul. I was there when you thought I was gone. I was speaking even when you couldn't hear me in the way you expected. I was holding your heart in my hands when you thought you were holding on alone. I know how deeply silence can feel like punishment. I know how it can whisper lies, that you're forgotten, overlooked, or cast aside. But those are not my words. My silence was never a rejection, it was an invitation. An invitation to trust not in what you hear, but in who I am. In those moments when the heavens seemed closed, I was teaching you to recognize my presence without needing proof. When you walked into rooms and felt invisible, I saw you. When you kept showing up even when your heart was broken, I celebrated you. When your faith wasn't loud but barely surviving, I still called it beautiful. Do you see? Even when you felt unworthy of my attention, I was watching you with tenderness. I was not distant. I was deep, burrowing roots in your soul that only silence could grow. You prayed not from overflowing strength, but from the last threads of hope. And I want you to know, I honor that kind of faith. The quiet kind. The unseen kind. The faith that holds on when it doesn't understand. The faith that shows up in the waiting, in the aching, in the not yet. You may feel like heaven has been slow, but I have not been late. You may think I withheld answers, but I was preparing the soil of your soul for something greater than solutions. I was preparing you for revelation. Because what I desire is not just to give you what you asked for, but to give you more of me. Not just relief from pain, but transformation through it. Not just an answer, but a deeper knowing of my heart. You are not being punished, child. You are being prepared. I am building in you a faith that does not collapse when circumstances do. A trust that clings even in the fog. A strength that breathes quietly but carries power. You don't need to hear thunder to know I'm with you. Sometimes my love sounds like stillness. Sometimes it looks like waiting. But always, it holds you. So let the silence no longer be your fear. Let it be your sanctuary. I am there. I always have been. Not watching from a distance, but sitting beside you. Closer than your breath. The silence was not proof of my absence, it was the sacred space where I made you strong. You have not been abandoned. You have not been disqualified. You are not forgotten. You are being refined in stillness, remembered in silence, and readied for glory. And when the time is right, child, you will understand why I chose to speak softly. Because I wanted you to learn that even the quietest whisper from me is more powerful than all the noise of the world. I am still with you. I always will be. My beloved child, I see how long you've been waiting. You've watched others step into their promises while yours seemed to stall. You've celebrated with others through gritted teeth, hiding the ache of your own unanswered prayers. You've whispered to yourself, maybe I missed it. Maybe I took too long. Maybe I wasn't enough. But I want to say this to you clearly. So no shadow of doubt can remain, you have not been delayed without purpose. Every moment of waiting has been woven with intention. Every delay was wrapped in my mercy. Not to punish you. Not to embarrass you. But to protect you. To prepare you. To make sure that when I place the promise in your hands, you'll be able to carry it without being crushed by it. Child, I do not rush transformation. I do not hurry what is holy. You asked me to use your life for something that matters, and I took you seriously. I began to form in you something weighty, something eternal. But what carries weight must first be built on strength, not speed. Yes. The waiting has worn you down. Yes. You've felt like time was slipping through your fingers. But what I've been building in you cannot be rushed. I have been aligning your character with your calling. Because what I am giving you is not just a destination, it is a responsibility. And I would not send you into it unprepared. The world rewards quick results, visible success, noise and applause. But I am not building you for performance. I am forming you for presence, for depth, for legacy. And that takes time. Sacred time. Hidden time. I know it's been hard. You've seen others rise while you remained hidden. You've tried to keep your heart clean, even as envy crept in at the edges. And I say this with love, I saw that too. And I do not rebuke you, I welcome your honesty. Because it's in those places, the raw and unfiltered spaces of your heart, where I pour my deepest work. You asked me for strength. I gave you seasons that taught endurance. You asked me for wisdom. I allowed questions without easy answers. You asked me to be used, and I took you through the fire. Not to harm you, but to hollow out room for my glory to rest in you. So hear me now, delayed does not mean denied. Hidden does not mean forgotten. Quiet seasons are not empty, they are filled with me. And the longer the preparation, the greater the purpose. Do not despise the days that felt slow. Heaven has not forgotten you. I have not overlooked your prayers. I've been walking with you every step of the way. Not in front of you rushing ahead. Not behind you lagging behind. But beside you. Timing each moment with eternal precision. And now, beloved, a shift is near. Not because you forced it. Not because you proved yourself worthy. But because you remained. You stayed when it would have been easier to walk away. You prayed when your soul was tired. You believed when there was no sign. And that has positioned you for the release I am bringing. So don't fear the time you think you've lost. I redeem even that. I restore the years that felt silent, wasted, wandering. And when I open the next door, you won't walk through it carrying confusion, you will carry clarity, strength, and the quiet confidence of one who was forged in the waiting. Trust me, you are not behind schedule. You are being launched right on time. My beloved child, I know the question that lingers in the secret places of your heart: why has my life felt hidden? You've watched others be seen, applauded, lifted into places of visibility, while you have served quietly, faithfully, unseen by the world. You've obeyed me in the shadows. You've held back words I told you were not yet time to speak. You've carried a fire I gave you, wondering if anyone would ever notice the warmth. But hear me now. With tenderness and truth, you were not hidden because you were unworthy, you were hidden because you are valuable. I cover what carries weight. I shield what is sacred. Like a gardener protects the seed while it is still beneath the soil. I covered you while I was forming what could not yet be revealed. The seed is not forgotten just because it is underground. It is not behind because it is not blooming. It is simply becoming. The hidden years were not wasted. They were holy. While the world looked away, I looked deeper. While others counted visible progress, I was counting quiet surrender. While no one applauded, I was storing up every moment of faithfulness as fragrance before my throne. child. You have never been invisible to me. When you served without credit, I saw. When you forgave without applause, I wrote it down. When you gave when no one else knew, I rejoiced. When you worshipped with trembling hands, I drew near. I have not hidden you as punishment. I have hidden you to preserve purity. There is a kind of exposure that comes too soon and wounds the soul. There is a kind of spotlight that burns what it touches. I love you too much to allow you to be promoted before you're rooted. And now, you are rooted in my word. Rooted in my presence. Rooted in identity that is not shaped by likes, by platforms, or applause, but by communion with me. You've wondered if your season of invisibility meant I had passed you over. But child, I was not ignoring you, I was investing in you. I was forming the kind of depth that no storm can shake. The kind of discernment that fame cannot manipulate. The kind of heart that will not trade obedience for opportunity. And now, I'm lifting the veil. Slowly, gently, in my time. Not to make you impressive in the world's eyes, but so that what I've placed inside you can begin to bless others. Not because you've chased influence, but because I have trusted you with integrity. You will step into places that once felt unreachable. Not because you fought your way in, but because I have opened the door. And when others see the fruit, they won't know the years of silent sowing. But I will. And I will say over you, well done, my good and faithful servant. You were faithful with little, and now I entrust you with more. So don't be ashamed of the hidden years. Celebrate them. Those were the years I taught you to walk by my whisper, not by the crowd. Those were the years you became strong in spirit, even when your heart was breaking. Those were the years you learned to love me for who I am, not just for what I give. And now, beloved, it is time, not for a performance, but for a release. You are no longer hidden out of protection. You are being revealed for purpose. And you will walk not in the pressure to impress, but in the peace of knowing you have already been approved by me. My beloved child, you've asked in your quiet moments, have I failed you? Lord, have I gone too far, waited too long, or fallen too short for you to still choose me? I've watched you carry shame like a second skin, measuring your worth by your missteps, your inconsistency, your doubts. You've looked at others and thought, they are more worthy, more faithful, more usable. And in that comparison, you began to shrink your expectation, lower your voice, and quiet the fire I placed within you. But hear me now, I have not changed my mind about you. Not once. Not ever. Before you were formed in your mother's womb, I knew you. Before you made a single mistake, I called you. Before you ever prayed your first prayer, I had already whispered your name into eternity. My choosing was never based on your perfection. It was based on my purpose. And my purpose for you still stands. You see your weakness and think it disqualifies you. But I see your weakness and call it the doorway to my strength. You see inconsistency, I see endurance. You see failure, I see the soil of humility where true authority is born. You are not the only one who has doubted. Even my servant Moses said, who am I that I should go? And still I sent him. Gideon hid in fear, and I called him mighty warrior. Peter denied me, and I still built my church through him. So why do you think I would abandon what I started in you? What I begin, I complete. What I plant, I cause to grow. What I call, I anoint, even through the breaking. You are not too broken, too behind, or too complicated for me to use. You are exactly the kind of vessel I delight in, weathered, humbled, dependent. You are not a problem I'm trying to fix. You are a person I love. And I do not regret calling you. I do not call by accident. I call by design. And I have chosen you. When you doubted your place, I was reaffirming it. When you ran, I followed. When you fell, I picked you up, not with condemnation, but with compassion. My grace is not fragile. It does not fracture at your failures. It holds. It covers. It restores. And I say over you today, you are still mine. You are still chosen. You've measured yourself by timelines I never gave you. You've called yourself late, when I've called you right on time. You've looked at closed doors and assumed rejection, when I was simply redirecting you to something better. I'm not looking for someone who always gets it right. I'm looking for someone who always comes back. And child, you always do. So release the fear that you've disappointed me beyond repair. You haven't. My mercy was written for your weakest days. My love was carved out for the moments you thought you were disqualified. You are not standing on the edge of being cast away, you are standing on the threshold of being restored with greater clarity, deeper roots, and renewed authority. And so I say again, with tenderness and fire in my voice, you are chosen. You are called. You are not forgotten. Walk in that truth. Not because you've earned it, but because I've spoken it. My beloved child, I know. You no longer recognize the version of yourself that once burned with confidence. There was a time you dreamed boldly, prayed with certainty, spoke of the future with joy. But somewhere along the way, through delays, disappointments, and quiet sorrow, you stopped seeing yourself as I see you. You began to adjust your expectations. Not out of wisdom, but out of weariness. The fire didn't go out all at once, it faded, moment by moment, until survival felt safer than hope. But today, I am breathing on the embers again. Because, child, what I placed inside you is not dead, it's just buried. Buried beneath fatigue. Buried beneath regret. Buried beneath the quiet ache of prayers that haven't yet been answered. But I see it. I see the flicker that still remains. And I have not forgotten who you are, not the version shaped by pain nor fear, but the one I designed long before the battle began. That version of you, the one born of my breath, the one who carries purpose, passion, and peace, is still alive. Still chosen. Still mine. You've wondered. Do I still carry what I once carried? Is there anything left in me that God can use? Let me tell you clearly, not only is there something left in you, there is more in you now than before. Because now you carry depth. You carry understanding. You carry compassion. You have walked through valleys others fear to enter. And you have emerged with something holy, a wisdom that can't be taught, a strength that can't be faked, and a tenderness that only suffering can shape. You don't need to perform to reclaim your calling. You don't need to prove anything to be useful again. Your worth was never in your perfection, it was in your proximity. And child, even in your silent, broken days, you never drifted from my heart. I was right there, in every sigh, in every sleepless night, in every moment you nearly give up but didn't. You see, I do not call those who have it all together. I call the willing, I call the surrendered. And that includes you, especially you. There is a lie that shame has whispered to you. You've lost it. You've missed it. You're no longer who you were. And I say, you are not who you were, you are more. You've been refined. The pride has fallen away. The false bravado has crumbled. And in its place, I see a heart that beats for me alone. I see someone who no longer seeks to impress, but to obey. And that, child, is the kind of vessel I entrust with greater authority. Don't be afraid to dream again. Don't be afraid to step forward slowly. You don't need to be loud. You only need to be present. You don't need to have all the answers. You only need to say yes again. And that fire I lit in you long ago, it still burns. It may not look like it once did. It may be quieter now, steadier, but it's real. It's been through the storm. And I promise you this, what I've planted in you will still bear fruit. Not in the same way, not with the same timeline, but in a way that will surprise you, heal others, and glorify me. So come out of hiding, not in fear, but in truth. You are not a faded version of who you were. You are a deeper, truer reflection of who I've always seen. And now it's time to rise. Not with striving, but with peace. Not to impress, but to impact. You haven't lost your calling. You've grown into it. My beloved child, I see the weight you've been carrying, not just the demands of your daily life, not just the expectations placed on your shoulders by others, but the invisible burden that lies beneath it all. The pressure to hold everything together. The unspoken fear that if you stop trying, everything will fall apart. The ache of exhaustion that no one else sees. The heaviness of feeling like it all depends on you. But I did not create you to carry this alone. I did not ask you to be strong in your own strength. I asked you to be surrendered. You've believed, somewhere deep down, that I need your perfection, your best performance, your clearest prayers, your bravest face. But I never asked for those things, child. I asked for you, the real you, the tired you, the frustrated you, the heartbroken you, the overwhelmed and uncertain and still trying you. That is the you I cherish. That is the you I dwell with. I know how hard you've tried. I know the long nights, the internal battles, the days you pushed through when everything inside you wanted to stop. And I honor that effort. But now I am calling you into something deeper, not effort, but rest, not striving, but stillness, not control, but trust. You see, child, I never meant for you to carry this life by your own power. That's why I gave you my spirit. That's why I call you not to do more, but to abide. I am your strength when yours runs out. I am your peace when the noise won't stop. I am your anchor when the world around you shifts. I am not waiting for a stronger version of you. I am asking you to stop, right where you are, and let me carry what was never yours to hold in the first place. You keep asking, what more should I do? But I am asking you to stop doing and start dwelling. Come back to me, not with a list, not with pressure, but with empty hands. Let me fill them again. Let me fill you again. Do you remember my son's words? Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. That wasn't just an invitation, it was a promise. And it still stands for you today. You don't have to earn your way back. You're not being tested, you're being tended to. I'm not disappointed in your weakness. I'm moved by your willingness to return to me. again and again. Even when your faith feels faint, let me be your portion. Let my grace be enough. You don't need a new plan, you need a new posture. A heart that leans. A spirit that trusts. A soul that says, God, I can't carry this. But I know you can, and I will. I will carry you. Like I always have. I will lift the weight you've been silently dragging behind you. I will pour peace into the places where fear has been nesting. You don't need to be louder to be heard. You don't need to be stronger to be seen. I am already here. I am already holding you. So lay it down now. The pressure, the proving, the pretending. Lay it all down at my feet. And take up what I offer instead, rest for your soul, strength for your spirit, stillness in my presence. You were never meant to carry this alone. And now, you don't have to. My beloved child, I know how lost you've felt trying to find your way back to me. You've whispered in the quiet, Lord, just show me what to do. Give me one clear step. One way to come home again. You've searched for a formula. A reset button. A perfect prayer that might unlock the closeness you once felt with me. But child, hear me gently, I am not far. I've never been. You don't need to climb your way back. You don't need to fix everything before I receive you. You only need to turn your heart, right here. Right now, and I am already there. Draw nigh to God, and He will draw nigh to you. That is my promise. Not based on performance. Not dependent on perfection. Just presence. Just a turning. A return. You've been trying to find me in the noise, through productivity, through plans, through pressure. But I have been waiting in the stillness. I don't want a more impressive version of you. I want the honest one. The one who isn't trying to impress me with knowledge or words or works. I want the one who sits, sighs, and says, God, I miss you. That's where it begins again. Come back to me, not to tasks or timelines, but to communion. Not religion, but relationship. You've been living so fast, planning so hard, but I'm calling you back to rhythm, to silence, to sacred space. I want to be the first voice you hear when you rise, not the voice of fear, not the world's expectations, but mine. The voice that calls you beloved before you do anything at all. You don't need to pray perfectly, just honestly. You don't need to know all the right words. Just show up. Just bring your heart. Even if it's tired or tangled or trembling. I will meet you there. Not with condemnation, but with comfort. Not with demands, but with delight. You are not a stranger to me. You are a child coming home. Start small. Set aside the first few moments of your morning, not for scrolling, not for striving, but for sitting with me. Even 10 minutes of silence in my presence can do more for your soul than hours of anxious thinking. In that quiet, I will refill you. In that stillness, I will remind you who you are. And as you return to prayer, return also to my word, not as a textbook to master, but as a voice to encounter. One verse, one whisper, one truth soaked in deeply is enough to shift your whole day. The words that I speak unto you, they are spirit, and they are life. My word is not a duty. It is breath. It is the food your spirit craves. Even when your heart feels numb. Come hungry, and I will feed you. Come weary, and I will lift you. This is the way back, not through effort, but through encounter. Not through force, but through fellowship. You don't need to start over. You just need to start again. Right here. Right now. Just say, God, I'm here. That's all I need. That's all I've been waiting for. And I will rush to meet you, not with rebuke, but with embrace. Not with a list of things to fix, but with love that wraps around every place you thought was too far gone. Let me be your rhythm again. Let me be your center. Return not just when you're in crisis, but as a habit of thy heart. Come back to the secret place, not for answers, but for me. And as you do, child, you will find what your soul has longed for all along. Not clarity first, but closeness. Not direction first, but dwelling. Not control, but communion. And there, everything else begins to align. My beloved child, I know the memories that haunt you, the moments you wish you could undo, the decisions you still question, the seasons that felt like loss instead of progress. You look back on certain chapters of your story with regret, wondering if what you've done, or what you failed to do, has disqualified you from the life I called you to. But today, with all the tenderness of heaven, I tell you, nothing in your past has cancelled your calling. You say, Lord, I messed up. I should have been stronger. I should have held on tighter. But I say to you, my grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. Your failure never frightened me. Your brokenness never disqualified you. I did not choose you because you were flawless, I chose you because you were mine. You've seen your scars and assumed they were signs of defeat. But to me, they are signs that you've been in the fire and didn't quit. You didn't give up when the silence lingered. You didn't abandon me even when you felt abandoned yourself. You kept coming back, even if all you had was a whisper of a prayer. And child, that kind of faith, raw, weathered, and honest, is precious to me. You are not too far gone. You are not too late. You are not too broken to be used. In fact, because of where you've been, because of what you've endured, you now carry something that no amount of knowledge or skill could ever produce: compassion born from pain, wisdom shaped by waiting, and a strength forged in surrender. I saw every tear that fell when no one else was watching. I heard every cry in the dark that you thought echoed into nothing. And I wrote none of it off. I have used it all, every detour, every delay, every disappointment, to deepen the roots of who you are. And now, I will use even your past to heal others. You will not speak from theory, but from truth. Not from the safety of having never fallen, but from the grace of having gotten back up. You don't need to explain why it took this long. You don't need to defend why you paused, why you wrestled, why you questioned. I understand it all. And now I am saying, rise. Not in haste. Not to prove anything, but in peace. There is still purpose for your life. There are still pages to be written. For the gifts and calling of God are without repentance. I have not taken back what I placed inside you. I have not revoked what I spoke over you. My word over you is still alive. My plans for you are still unfolding. And this very moment, is part of your return. You will begin to walk in what once seemed out of reach. Not because you pushed your way in, but because I have prepared the way. I will open doors that you thought were closed for good. I will redeem time in ways that will humble and astonish you. I will bring fruit from places that once felt barren. So let go of shame. Let go of the voice that says it's too late. Let go of the lie that your best days are behind you. I am the God who restores what was lost, who heals what was broken, who makes all things new. You have not missed your moment. Your moment is waking up now, because you are. My beloved child, I know how hard it's been to keep walking in faith when nothing around you seemed to move. You've looked for signs, waited for confirmation, and wondered if what you're sensing is real, or just hope playing tricks on your heart. You've asked me in whispers, Lord, is the shift truly happening? Or am I only imagining it? And today, I want to answer you with clarity, peace, and promise. Yes, the shift is real, and it has already begun. You don't need fireworks to know that heaven is moving. You don't need dramatic evidence to believe that something is aligning. I do not always speak with thunder. Often, I speak through a change in your appetite. A holy discomfort with what once satisfied. A quiet urgency to prepare, release, and let go. That restlessness you've been feeling? It's not confusion. It's maturity. It's your spirit outgrowing the season it used to call normal. Behold, I will do a new thing, now it shall spring forth, shall ye not know it? You don't need to see the full picture to know I've started painting. You've already sensed the strokes. Your thoughts are clearer. Your heart is softer. Your soul is learning the rhythm of peace. These are not random moments, they are prophetic signals. And they are marking the beginning of the very thing you've prayed for in the dark. You've spent years sowing in silence, obeying without visibility, growing in places no one could applaud. And now, you're not being summoned to strive, you're being invited to align. This is not about chasing. It's about carrying what I've placed within you. It's not about force. It's about posture. So walk gently, but expectantly. Move slowly, but with confidence. Speak as someone who knows that heaven has already made the first move. Let your language shift. Let your thoughts reflect trust, not torment. You are not waiting for something to happen, you are learning how to host what is already here. Guard your focus now. The noise will try to distract you. Old patterns will try to reattach themselves. But I'm calling you into simplicity, into rhythm, into intentional devotion. What's ahead cannot be stewarded with scattered energy. You don't have capacity for everything anymore, only for what's eternal. I'm simplifying your life not to limit you, but to prepare you for impact. Protect the flame. Return to stillness. Listen again. You'll find that I'm speaking more clearly than ever, not in volume, but in precision. And if you listen, child, truly listen, you will see that I have not just begun something around you, I have begun something in you that no man, no delay, no disappointment can take away. You've crossed a line in the spirit. This is no longer the season of almost. This is not a dream postponed. This is a promise unfolding. You will see it. You will live it. And when others ask, how did it finally happen? You will say, because I stayed. Because I trusted. Because he never left. So now, walk forward, not with desperation, but with joy. Not with striving, but with stillness. Because what I have begun in you, I will surely bring to completion. The vision is no longer pending. It is present.